Hi, thanks for joining me. So today I would like to just talk a little bit about some code and maybe browse a website, talk a little bit about how you guys can learn a little bit more about hacking old video games, honestly, like just messing around with this stuff. I just did a little update to my table helper script. I think this is probably the first updates I've done since the last time I made a video on that table helper script. I just thought it'd be fun to talk about this. This is as much for me as it is for you guys, kind of just a little vlog. What inspired this was this video game here, Cadillac, on the Famicom. Crontendo has a new video out. Super excited about that. It was really fun to watch. I recommend that you guys all subscribe to Crontendo. Check that out. Actually, I can probably bring that up. Crontendo. Dr. Sparkle, up to episode 55. These are really great. This is like almost 2 hours of just talking about basically like playing all of the games on the Famicom and the NES in all the regions chronologically in as much as possible and talking about them. It's very cool. So I was introduced via that new episode to this Famicom game called Cadillac. I had not encountered it before, but it's kind of a puzzle like falling blocks game where you use like a deck of cards and then you match, you know, suits and things like that, and clear the cards. It seems fun. So it has a little bit of text to it. Here you can see some text here. So I was like, I honestly, like, I was kind of done dumping scripts for now. Once I had pretty much gone through all the PC Engine like cue card games that I wanted to dump scripts for, but I really miss dumping scripts. So anyway, I figured I would do this one. I made really great progress, but I bumped into a couple of things. So one is that, let's take a look at the table file here. Oh yeah, so I guess one is that this has lowercase English alphabet in it, and that wasn't a big deal because I'd pretty much already had that in my table helper. If I go in here to character sets, we have English lower and English upper, but I just wasn't like importing that from this file into the script, so I added that in. I think I had done it. I actually maintained two copies of these scripts, so I think I had done it in one copy of the script and hadn't done it in the other one that I was using. So they're basically identical. But it just depends on which version of PHP I have loaded at the time. So anyway, I solved that. That was easy. And this was pretty easy too, but I also wanted to be able to get the Doc10 and Han Doc10, the diacritics, printed out when I print out these these character sets, right? You guys have seen me do this before where I'll go through each. You know, we've got Ka, and I'll go here and I'll copy this and I'll put that there, and I'll put in, you know, EE is our character there, and then I'll make this Ga, and I'll you know, God, I've got it. There we go. Anyway, and I'll have to do that for the whole thing, right? And it's fine. It's not that time consuming, and that's kind of why I haven't bothered to fix this, but. There's a couple things too. I guess one is also that my dumping script, this is not my dumping script, this is just for making a table file. I intended to, like, if I put some offsets into my dumping script and dump the script that way from the game, I don't need to put these double byte value diacritics into a table file because my dumping script handles that, right? But what I find is that I don't always want to use that, right, in practicality. For one, it's actually kind of nice to see these diacritics show up in the hex editor because, you know, this hex editor color codes double byte versus single byte. If an equivalency has multiple characters to it, that's color coded differently. So those are yellow. If it's a single character, it's red. If it's double byte, it's white, right? So, and that's actually really useful for me if I'm scanning through the ROM, looking for the text. Those white diacritics are really gonna stand out, right? So you know, it's just a really specific sort of practical thing. But I'm like, it would actually be nice, and I've been meaning to code it into this table helper script forever. So what I did, this is pretty simple. I mean, this is the script. You basically just put in your hex of values, and then you put in what the equivalent characters are for just one of those, and then it finds it in any of these character sets, and then it prints the whole thing out to the screen, right? But all I'm really doing here is just for each one of these that I've put in here, I just call this print table function, right? So I've got a little function library here. It's super simple. In fact, what is there? Like, there's get character set, and there's print table, and I think those are the only functions I have in here, right? But it's just, I wanted to have like a nice clean thing here, and then this can be messier, right? So this print table function, all it does is it loads up all these character sets, and then it's basically just like, it's just looking for the character in a character set. So if is set character set, so basically what that is it's like it's picking which character set we've found our character in, because it's only going to be in one of these. There's no repeats between these character sets. So it finds that, and then it's basically just going to associate the value that you passed in here for the hex value, right, to it's going to extrapolate that out for the rest of the character set. And it's pretty straightforward. So what this used to have in it was pretty much just, get the position, get the count, get the hex value, and then do this this for loop that iterates through the character set. And this stuff is all new, so basically ignore that. And then it just came down here and it did this print statement to the screen, right? So what we would get is this, and that works just fine. But when we want to deal with these diacritics, I was like, well, how am I going to do that, right? So I thought through a few things, but this I think is the easiest and most elegant. I don't really like sticking an array like this necessarily in here. It feels a little naked. Like I'd like to hide that in, I don't know, like a character set file or something. But this was just easy. So I said, okay, I need all the Doc10 characters, and I need their equivalent, unvoiced characters. So here's like ka, here's ga. Ga is the ka with the Doc10 on it. So that's the voiced character, that's the unvoiced. And we do the same thing with the Han Doc10 characters. We've got like ha and pa in both hiragana and katakana. Same with this, hiragana set, katakana set. But all of the Doc10, all of the Han Doc10. So then we actually still print the plain character. So it's the byte value, and then whatever character is that we found in the character set, and we do that repeatedly. But if we have specified a Doc10, okay, and so I pass these in here new. We're passing in Doc10, which defaults to null, Han Doc10, which defaults to null, and pre, which defaults to null. So what we're saying is, if Doc10 is not null, because we've passed something in, and basically what we're looking for is the character that we're passing in. We want to see if it's in the Doc10 characters, in the keys. Okay, so like if we've passed in he, we're going to see, oh, he is in there. And if we have this as a reference that B is the Doc10 version of he. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, let's do our print statement, but we're the same one up here, but we're going to alter it a little bit. So we're going to say this is a ternary operator, a ternary comparison operator. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it really makes sense in this. So what it's saying is basically, so when you have these unvoiced characters, typically the way they're represented with a voiced character on them is with 2 bytes. If the diacritic mark does not appear on a separate line, if it's in line with these characters, it either appears as a byte that comes after or a byte that comes before. So here we have 88, and if our like doc10 character is EE, it's either going to be 88EE, okay, and that'll represent ge instead of k, or it'll be EE88, and that will represent the same thing, ge instead of k, but it'll come before it, EE88, or it'll come after it, 88EE. So we need a way of letting the script know that. So, you know, in table helper, I'm just going to say pre is true, or it's false, in which case it's pretty much not set, and it ends up coming over here as null. So basically what this ternary operator is saying is, if pre is true, then do doc10, else if it's false, basically, because this is part of a print statement, right? So it's going to be saying print this, else if not, print nothing. All right, print blank. So, and actually, I don't even know if I need that. I wonder if I could just leave. I don't know. I might not need two, you know, quotes in there. But that makes sense, right? Okay, so if pre is set, then we're gonna put in our byte value, and this just like pads it out to 2 characters, so with a 0 if we need to. And then if it is set, we're also going to not print anything here. But if it isn't set, then we're going to print the doc10. So basically it's gonna come after if it's not set, and it's gonna come before if it is set. So that's I like that. That's actually it's elegant. It's all in one. I did not have to. I don't want to nest these if statements. That was really bothering me. I went through a couple iterations of this, and I had some nested if statements, and it was driving me up the wall. So this is really great, super elegant. And then we just concatenate the actual character on there, and then we just print a break. So what happens there, we're basically triggering actually all 3 of these print statements, right? So we're triggering this print statement first. We're conditionally, depending on if doc10 is set and we find something, printing this statement, and then conditionally if doc10 is set and we bump into something, we're then printing this statement. So we could be printing up to three times. So yeah, so here we can see this. We don't have anything set, so we're going to go to, in this case, specifically for Cadillac, our doc10 is EE, which is why I was saying EE before. Our doc10 is EF, which is why I was saying that. And we're going to refresh this after I save it. There we go. And we're going to see those show up. So yay. So it's 85 is ka, 85EE is ga. 86 is ki, 86EE is gi. So it does that properly for all this stuff. It does it for the katakana because we have the katakana in there. It does it for the hiragana. It does it properly for the ha characters that have the doc10 and doc10 for them. You know, this is EE and EF. And if we switch this to pre, it will work. I did test all of this out. So that this was all pretty robust. We go ahead and do that, and now we can see this is EE 85, EE 86, and it works for the doc10, EF 9D, EE 9D, 9D. So that's all working great. You can even do it, you know, individually. I don't know why you wouldn't have doc10 set and not doc10, but I felt like my script needed to handle that, just because it was straightforward. So, you know, there's that. It's all working fine with the pre. You know, we take pre off. It's going to be post, so it's going to come after. Bang, it comes after. It's all working quite well. So that's great. So yeah, what's you know super nice about that is that we can actually get our diacritics to show up in here once we put this in. With this, katakana, down to there, and we'll save that. And now you'll see when we open this up, open table file for Cadillac. Bing, there we go. We get our, you know, so no longer are our diacritics represented by 2 bytes, where one is the voice character and then separately is the actual diacritic mark. They're actually represented as the character with the diacritic mark You know, there's still 2 bytes, but it's displaying as the combined, the single character. And you know, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to mention also, like, why I have kind of gone out of my way to like dump a number of scripts myself, is because like other people that dump scripts typically don't care as much about handling these diacritics properly. And I'm just like, you know, I want script files out there that have like these diacritics handled properly, because, you know, again, if you're like copy pasting this into a dictionary to do a lookup or something like that, it's way easier than like having to like type and fix all of these diacritics. It's a real pain in the butt. So yeah, so there's that, and it looks really nice. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is like, how do you learn more about this stuff? And because like some people are coming to my videos and they're having, you know, questions, which is great, and I'm glad that people are watching and enjoying some of this stuff. I'm not necessarily the best person to learn these things from. You know, it's not bad, right? But you know, you don't need to learn like PHP to like do this the way that I do. Like, I've worked as a web developer. I'm not right now, but I you know, worked as a web developer for like a decade basically. And so I'm just using like the tools that I know. But there, you know, you can learn how to do this stuff. You know, it helps to have certain backgrounds. It really does. But I've talked to people that are like, I didn't know anything about programming, and then I learned how to like hack, you know, the CPU in the Super Nintendo, you know, and that was it. And so anyway, what you know, the main things I would say, for starters, obviously go to ROMhacking.net. Like, this is the ROM hacking community. You know, things happen outside of this community, but this is the place, right? This is the community that's been around for a couple decades now. So if you go to the Getting Started section here, this is a good place for getting started. There are some minor issues. For instance, like if you go down to some stuff recommended, you know, translation resources in terms of like you know, utilities here, like JWPce. I still use JWPce all the time, but it's no longer hosted here at this UCLA, you know, website. Anyway, maybe I'll post the links that I have to get JWPce, a couple versions that have like been tweaked just a little bit, in my like the description for this video. All right, so check that out. But you know, I'm just saying, aside from like a couple little things like that, like, this information is all the same, right? The information doesn't change. Even the tools don't change all that much. I'm still using tools I was using 20 years ago and 10 and 15 years ago, right? These are little, you know, a blurb here. You can read about it. You can go to a you know, a document, right? Okay, so you basically just, you grab this document and you look at it. Here's some of the stuff about hex. Here's some stuff about number bases. You know, I've talked about that. It's basic stuff. You know, a little primer to graphics hacking. You know, some stuff talking about table files for dummies, definitive guide to table files. You know, so these are other people in this community that have written multiple documents, you know, for learning how to mess around. You know, if you guys watch my videos, you probably kind of have a handle on table files at this point. But you know, you know, there's stuff, music, general documents, general tools, and you know, it's not so much just this, though. This is a good way to like kind of get up to speed with just like some of the kind of stuff that I go over, just the basics. But you know, there are other people in this community that have done like a lot of interesting stuff, and you know, one of them was mentioning to me, they're like, yeah, I just went to you know, the documents, and I read a document that King Mike wrote about, you know, whatever, like assembly for this particular processor or something like that, and I, you know, I just went from there, right? You know, so I mean, you've got all kinds of stuff. Like, you just go here to category, you know, text hacking, go. This is a little serve yourself, right? This is kind of self-service. You gotta be curious and interested, but you can just, you want to know about more about table files. Bang. Pointer hacking, right? This was one of the things where, like, back when I was doing this too, like, I got kind of tripped up on, like, manually calculating pointers, right? But there's a bunch of pointer documents in here. Some of them are as new as 2020 here in May, messing around with pointers in Final Fantasy IV. But some of these things are as old as 1998 when all this stuff was like first starting. So it's there's good stuff in here, but there's new utilities and stuff too. I think there's like utilities you can use to calculate pointers that make some of that stuff a little bit easier. So don't expect to like have your hand held, right? You kind of need to be willing to like do your own research. Don't just be like, hey, how do you do this thing? Like, if you want to know how to do it, like, try, look up and try to figure out how to do it. There's resources out there for you. So that's mostly what I wanted to say. And like, there's a Discord server. I've never even gone to the Discord server. I guess maybe we'll see this for the first time here. But yeah, bang, you go to romhacking.net. You can ask questions here, right? You can ask questions on the website in the forums, right? So just go to the forum. There's a newcomers board. Ask your questions there. After you've been around in the community and people know more, and whatever, maybe ask in the programming section, ask in the ROMhacking section, ask in the script help and language discussion section. Put up a help wanted ad for someone to hack the game if you know Japanese and you can translate a script. Put a help wanted ad up if you have gotten good at hacking but you don't know any Japanese, or you're translating from Spanish or something, whatever. So that's it, I guess. This has just been a rambly vlog. I hope that it was fun seeing that I finally added the functionality to my table helper that I probably should have added, forever ago. But yeah, it wasn't that hard. I just needed the motivation to sit down and do it. And I guess, for Cadillac here, I was just like, I might as well finally take care of that. And yeah, if you guys want to learn more about this, I hope you guys hit up romhacking.net. It's there's a good core group of people there. Some people have been around forever. Some people are new. But I hate to see people sitting around twiddling their thumbs wondering how they can, how can I help, how can I learn, how can I do whatever, and never visiting that site, or never like reading all of the information that's there, all those documents that are there. There's a lot of knowledge and a lot of information there, and then there's human resource too, to the people in the forums, people on the Discord. That's going to be the place. Not just my videos on YouTube. That's not really the place to stay. If you've gotten the itch, if my videos have introduced you to this and you've developed an interest, get on this site, get out there, find this information for yourself, and ask questions when you need. So that's all. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you next time.